Hello friends, so welcome to this demo. So in this particular demo, we'll see how we can configure metrics onto different Azure resources. But we'll choose one, we'll try to use the storage account metrics, that how we can see the number of options. And just to give you a quick recap, in the while studying the metrics, we have already studied that metrics, they are like numerical values that will tell you the kind of a system state or the state of your service at a particular time, and they are collected at a regular times in a regular interval and are helpful for alerting purpose. Let's say if you need to have some kind of data wherein you need to find out that if this CPU percentage or input output rate or input output error is going high, then in that case send an alert to an admin. Or let's say in case of SQL database, some kind of you can say a bottleneck is there or deadlocks are there, so in that case the alerting should go to the SQL administrator or database administrator. So in that way, depending on the metrics, the system state at a particular time, depending on the data collected, we can set an alert. So in this demo, we'll see how we can configure, how we can use Azure Monitor to basically check the metrics or configure the different metrics. So let's say I'll go to a particular Azure Monitor only to check the or how we can configure metrics. So like uh, see, we have already discussed that monitor is an overall service with the help of which we'll be able to get a kind of data from all the services, and at this place where we can monitor our application and infrastructure. So let's say if I'll go to metrics over here, and the only difference is while configuring the metrics in case of Azure Monitor, you need to set a scope that for which all services you need to set a metric for that. Similarly, if you'll go to that particular individual service, in that case, you'll get that information pretty straightforward over there. So for example, let's say here in this particular demo, we'll configure a metrics for a storage account. So let's say if I'll select a storage account which I've already configured and used in our previous demo, I'll select the scope, basically the subscription name, and then it will show the basically resources. So I'll select this particular resource group. Here I have a storage account SA-389, and so we'll use this particular storage account, let's say, and I'll click on apply. So here I am getting a different kind of metrics which I want to configure. Let's say use capacity, and then in case of transactions, availability, ingress, egress, right? And then number of transactions and what type of aggregation I would like to use, sum, average, right? Depending on the metric I have chosen. Let's say if I'll choose egress, and from here I can choose the different timings. I'll come to this point just in a moment, but let me show you that this information will be available straightforward when we'll access our storage account. So let me click on to our storage account, and we'll go to the metrics from, we'll choose the metrics option from there. So you'll see there is no need to change this, find out the scope and all those things. So this is the storage account. Let me click onto this and we'll go to metrics. So generally it is at the last. Yeah. So under monitoring section, if you'll click on metrics, you can see this information is pretty straightforward. I need not to define the scope. It is already selected over here. All right. So let's go back to the monitor option which we have, and then basically these are the different filters or the options Azure has provided so that we can get the number of transactions or the type of transactions we need to correlate a data. So from here, the first thing is you can select the timings, that for last 24 hours or 30 minutes, whichever the timings you want to choose. And apart from that, let's say if you want the data from last 7 days, and here you can also choose the granularity, whether 1 minute, 5 minute, 15 minutes, what kind of data, what kind of internal interval you need. Let's say if I'll choose 30 minutes and last 7 days, so you'll get some, yeah, this kind of graph, because the timing you have chosen, the interval is very less. So in that case, it will help you to provide the data. So let's do it for last 3 days because the activity is in 3 days only mostly. And this is how you can provide the different timings over here. The other thing which is very good over here is that okay, you can add filter into that. Let's say if you need data related to API name, authentication, geotype, all this information you will be able to get. You can also apply splitting over here. So let's say if I'll choose for API authentication, it can give me the data in a detailed form, and I can also check for the authentication. It will tell me that okay, how many number of you know account SAS key test and then SAS test, right? Anonymous pre-flight, OAuth. So it will give a detailed information about the different values which I have selected. You can select for the geotype, and API name. So these are the different transactions. So let's say if you'll click on that, it will give get blob service properties, right? And similarly, if I'll click over here, it will give me then information about the tables, containers. So depending on the data which you want to uh, you know f- check, or the data wants to display, you can do that. Similarly, you can add values from here. So these are the different options we have, and we can see the kind of data which we would like to see. Similarly, and apart from that, the other good thing is that if you want to visualize at some what at one single place, you can pin it to the dashboard, and this data will be available in the dashboard as well. So you can access your dashboard over here, and you'll see the data is available here as well. So we'll delete this particular data from this particular dashboard right now, and we'll go to the Azure Monitor service where it is. Yeah. And if I'll go to metrics again, and you can select the any of the other service, and you will be able to see the data for that as well. So let's say I'll show you one another example. You can select the we have one SQL as well. So let's see that SQL server is there or not. Yeah, see we have this SQL server. So or we can select this particular SQL server, and then you can check for the SQL database standard metrics. So these are the different metrics: CPU percentage, right? And deadlocks if there would be any, like I was giving you the example. So these kind of information would be very helpful from a database administrator perspective. Session percentage, successful connections which were made to this particular database, blocked if there is any connection blocked by the firewall. So all these information is available in case of metrics. And similarly, you can go to the uh, like particular SQL database, and from there as well you will be able to see the metrics available over there. So if I'll go over here, and you can go to the metrics option. See, here we need not to define any kind of scope. The data is available pretty straightforward. You need to select the metric only for which you need the data. So this is it, friends, in this lecture. So in this lecture, we discussed how we can use the Azure Monitor to configure different kind of metrics depending on the service. So thank you, friends. Thank you for watching this lecture. Meet you in the next lecture. Thank you.